Clarence-Rockland is situated on unceded, traditional, and ancestral land of the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee Nations. The City of Clarence-Rockland gratefully acknowledges these Indigenous nations for their guardianship of this land, and we honor them. Dear residents of Clarence-Rockland, today is the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, where we remember and honor the lost children and survivors of residential schools, their families, and their communities. It is time to solemnly acknowledge the hurt and harm this system has caused. Survivors have requested reparation and accountability, and it is our duty as Canadians to do so. Nous devons nous considérer privilégiés que les communautés autochtones nous tendent la main et nous offrent cette occasion de réconciliation. Nous contribuerons tous à créer un meilleur pays en faisant les démarches pour comprendre et reconnaître leurs douleurs. Les horreurs des pensionnats autochtones font malheureusement partie de notre histoire. Comme vous, j'ai été horrifié d'apprendre ce qui s'est passé dans ces institutions. Ce qui est le plus triste, cependant, est que les communautés autochtones en parlaient depuis des décennies et personne n'était à l'écoute. Cela vient de changer. What can we do as individuals to contribute positively to this day? We can start by asking ourselves, what does reconciliation mean to us? What is the symbolism of wearing orange on this important day? More than that, we can listen with an open mind and heart when members of our Indigenous communities explains what reconciliation means to them. We also need to take concrete action. Last September 20th, this municipal council adopted a resolution to commit to recognizing today as National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, and to ensure that public commemoration of the history and legacy of residential schools remain a vital component to the reconciliation process. Ceci n'est que le premier pas, car nous pouvons bien entendu faire beaucoup plus. La Commission de vérité et de réconciliation a publié son rapport final le 2 juin 2015. Ce rapport comprenait 94 appels à l'action visant à réparer les séquelles des pensionnats et à faire avancer le processus de réconciliation canadienne. Certaines des actions peuvent être réalisées à l'échelle locale par les gouvernements municipaux. Nous étudierons attentivement ces appels à l'action et mettrons en œuvre celles qui sont bénéfiques à la communauté de Clarence-Rockland. Merci à vous tous qui ont pris le temps aujourd'hui de souligner cette première journée de la vérité et de la réconciliation. Je reconnais que ces activités ont été organisées en peu de temps, mais vous avez toute ma gratitude pour votre initiative. In closing, I would like to leave you with this quote from former Justice and Senator Murray Sinclair, who served as the chairman for Residential Schools Truth and Reconciliation Commission from 2009 to 2015. Quote, I did say at the end of the TRC report that we will not achieve reconciliation in my lifetime. We will probably not achieve it in the lifetime of my children. We may not even achieve it in the lifetime of my grandchildren. But if we make a concerted effort, then eventually we will be able, someday, to wake up and, to our surprise, find that we are treating ourselves or each other in a way that was intended when contact was first made. Merci. Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about the programs and events that you guys have put on for today, the 30th of September?
Well, today is a very special day, so we had a couple of guests that came in. We had one young lady, Abigail Collins, who came this morning to do a story time in French. Her father is Micmac and her mother is Métis, and they do a lot of different events to enhance different Indigenous activities. Abigail and her parents frequently go to events and represent their heritage at these events, and they're very proud of their heritage, and it shows. And she did a beautiful story time for the children. Her father actually played the anthem of their peoples, and everybody stood for that, and it was absolutely beautiful music. It was nice to be part of that. And then later on, we had Louise Vienne. She's a local Métis artist, and she also did a story time for our Anglophone clientele, our little mini Anglophone clientele, and that went very well. And now she's actually also done a educational presentation on Indigenous peoples and also what they've gone through with residential schools. So we've had a few classrooms coming through from L'Escale for this presentation, and she's also set up a table of beautiful artwork that she's done. Some of the stuff is just incredible, and we're just very happy to have these two very special guests here today with us.
Absolutely, and for yourself and the library in general, why do you feel it's so important to provide these educational events and programs, not just for the younger students, but going forward for the general public as well?
Well, the way I view it is a library is part of the educational process, and for myself and other people of my age group, we did not learn anything of residential schools or any Indigenous how do I put that word, Indigenous peoples in our history classes. We learned from the colonial side. The colonial history is what we learned. Actually here all of my staff have been taking an Indigenous studies course, and it is mandatory for all of my staff because people come to the library and they're looking for information, they're looking for a reference, and we need to be able to help them. Even though we might not know everything, at least we know enough to be able to assist them in their journey. Everybody has to know. There's no reason. It was ignorance before. We didn't know better. Well, now we can do better by learning.
Absolutely, and these events today, 30th of September, are obviously vastly important. Will you be hosting anything else throughout the year as well to continue the dialogue?
Yes, actually at the beginning of November is Treaty Week, and we plan on doing more on that week as well. And I'm hoping we're putting together a collection. I'm hoping to also have, little spotlights throughout the year just to remind people, because this can't be just a one-day affair. It has to be something that is continuous and it's never going to end. And I'm going to try and put some elements into just the library itself, the space. That is actually one of the items on the calls to action, is to bring it into your space, into your workspace. So I'm definitely going to talk to Louise as well and get some artwork in here. And I'm going to be in discussions. Abigail Collins, who was here earlier, I'm going to discuss with her father. He's going to help me out with our land acknowledgement statement as well. We've started with a draft, but we need to improve upon it and get more, get it validated.
This is a recognition of some of their past crimes that was committed against the First Peoples of Canada. It is the beginning of a first step, shall we say, of moving forward, of acknowledging what's been done, and perhaps trying to repair some of the harm that's been done. But I'm not too sure yet. It's too early. This is the first step. I'm afraid that it might become a holiday for the government. You follow? Mm-hmm. And will be lost and forgotten about.
And how could we move forward to ensure that the 30th of September, Truth and Reconciliation Day, doesn't just become another symbolic gesture, but actually does become what it needs to become, as you
people
just
like you getting the word out. Because First Nations, we won't forget. We will never forget. We've been here for thousands of years on our territories. We'll always be who we are. We won't forget. We have to find out exactly what happened to the children that went missing in the schools. We have to find out why the RCMP and the other people came and took the children away. Why? Can you imagine today if that was to happen? Someone came into your home as a white person. Boot, let's go. You have children in your house? Let's go. We're going to put them on a reserve and teach them Mi'kmaq or Mohawk or Algonquin. They can never speak English again. We're going to force them to grow their hair and do all kinds of stuff that's totally foreign to them. That's where we are, right? So the reconciliation is a step towards undoing all that pain, hopefully. That's what it means to me.
And in an area such as the municipality of Clarence-Rockland, which is fortunate enough as it stands to not have the legacy of residential schools, what would you say to the residents of this area that they should really do for the 30th of September, not only this year, but obviously for the years to come as well?
You know, I'm actually kind of impressed with the people around here. I've been living in this area for a while, since I got back from China, and the people had been actually pretty good. They invited me into their schools to give teachings on the Mi'kmaq way of life and our culture and how we do things and that. I've been in my daughter's school for years, up to grade 6, and now I'm in this school again, this higher school. I've been invited to the local schools and universities to give teachings. That's great. That's all doors being opened. And people are curious. Like the teachers that have brought me here today, they're curious. They want to know. The little kids are curious. Those are the gems that are going to be the ones that are going to change everybody's mind. They're the ones.
And going forward as well, the 30th of September is just one day. What are
Yes.
some of the things that people in Canada, residents, anyone who resides in this country can do every single day, but throughout the rest of the year as well, not just the 30th of September, to ensure that they are being part of a solution to a problem that was created?
Well, educate themselves. Read history. Read some history. Find out who the first peoples are in this country, because most of them don't know. They weren't taught it in school, to be honest. It's not their fault. It was never taught in schools. I went to school, never heard a word about First Nations. Nothing. And I'm First Nations. Never heard a word about it, except for the beatings from the nuns and the priests, etc., etc. You know, but they have to educate themselves. They have to do some reading, or have to Google or something. They have to find out on their own time, at their convenience, who we are. Invite us to their communities. Invite us for a potluck, because there's ceremonies we can't invite them to, because like the sweats and that sort of thing. They're quite religious ceremonies now, so we can't have them in. But come out to the powwows. They love the powwows. They come out. We have people from all over the world come to the powwows, especially the Chinese and the Japanese and all kinds of people come to the powwows. They love it. They love the food. They love the things we have for sale. We can do the same. They invite us out to their whatever they have, fairs and that sort of thing. We can definitely go out and enjoy that. Invite us out. Invite the elders. That's a sign of respect. Invite the elders. I'm an elder. Invite us out and do that sort of thing. That's a great way to do it. I hope that our children's children's children can all hang out together, be friends together. There's no such a thing as color coding, you know what I mean? None of that. I don't want to hear the word, I don't want racism, I don't even want that word to exist anymore. I want it gone. I want the government to step up and just get rid of it, like they got rid of the $2 bill, so it doesn't exist anymore. It's the worst thing there is. Racism is toxic, not only from the person who is on the receiving end, it's a poison. It's the person who's spewing it out is a poison, right? So that's what I want. 100 years from now, every day like this, instead of becoming a dreadful memory, I'm full of goosebumps right now, not happy about it. 100 years from now, I want it to be a celebration, like everybody's happy. You follow?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because right now we're not.
And how do you see us getting there?
Time, communication. We have to talk to each other. We've got to do things together. We've got to overcome obstacles together. That's the only way. When we work side by side, we can accomplish stuff. If we don't, it's not going to work out. Because there are times I fear that there would be another Indian uprising, like we had in Oka, for example. I was there in Oka. I know what it's like. I was on both sides trying to keep the peace. I was there as a soldier, intelligence operator. I was on one side trying to keep the peace with the army, the other side running with the First Nations. And my only objective was to keep the peace. I remember my captain called me in the office. He said, Sergeant Collins, you have to swear allegiance to the Crown. I said, hello? I did that many, many, many years ago. He said, because of this problem in Oka and your First Nations, we want to know what side you're on. I said, sir, I am on the side of protecting lives. And I left the office. And then I was gone for about 3 or 4 months doing my thing. And I never want to see that again, because there are a lot of very well-trained warriors in this country, and I never want to see that happen. And this day is chipping away at any of that sort of thing. I got a smile on it now, because this day is chipping away at any of those feelings happening. Today's a big day, big beginning. So we got to work together. We have to sit down and eat together. We have to cry together. Maybe hunt together. I don't know. I don't know what white people do, but stuff like that. We'll find out what we do. You know, what each other does, and do it. That's it. That's the best way to do it. And protect the bloody planet. All right.